Hi, Dave Etchells here from Imaging Resource. I'm here in New York with Mr. Toshiyuki Terada, who is the manager of the digital planning department for digital SLRs at Olympus Camera. And this is a pretty momentous time for Olympus because now, 4 years after the introduction of the original E1 digital SLR, they're announcing the E3. And this new camera, as we'll hear in a few moments here, the story is all about speed. It's a 10 megapixel sensor, but that's not really the big news. The big news is that it has what Olympus is claiming to be the fastest autofocus system on the market, at least as of this point in time. It's also a much more sophisticated autofocus system. We'll hear more about that in a little bit. It's got a fast shutter speed. It's got 8,000th of a second high maximum shutter speed, and it's got a 2/50th of a second X-sync. And also, it's a 5 frame per second camera with a very short mirror blackout time. So this is a camera that's really made for the practicing professional, somebody that needs speed and responsiveness from the camera. And we'll get into some of the details. Now, I guess the biggest news on this really is the autofocus system. It's not only significantly faster, but it's much more sophisticated than anything we've seen on an Olympus camera in the past. And in fact, it's more sophisticated than many systems on a lot of the competing models that are out there. So, Mr. Terada, I guess what's the central characteristic of the autofocus system? What would you say is the most important point about it?
Yes, the most important point is we increase the point number is 11 points, and all point has a cross sensor. Even the side of the position, we can get the same accuracy of the AF compared to the others.
That's great. So all the focus points in this system are equal. They're all no second-class citizens here with the AF system. Right. That even the points at the extreme, all of them are cross-type sensors, meaning that they're sensitive to both vertical and horizontal elements. And in addition to these being all cross-type sensors, you've done some things to increase the sensitivity or the accuracy of these points.
Yes, we have kind of the double layer type of structure. Each line sensor, we have a 2 line sensor of each point, means that we increase the accuracy out of it, and each sensor has a 2 line, means totally the 44 lines we have for this AF system.
So the autofocus computer inside the camera has a lot more data to work with. Sure. And we have actually in our coverage of the E3, there's a diagram of what they call the houndstooth sensor pattern, where the two adjacent lines, both of which make up essentially a single vertical or horizontal line sensor, are offset slightly. And so that it gives you maybe not quite twice the accuracy, but it's a significant improvement in accuracy for a given baseline on the autofocus.
I think from our estimation, the 40% increase the accuracy compared to the just single line.
Now, like Olympus's consumer cameras, this E3 has a live view system thanks to its NMOS sensor.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it that we noticed when we got our hands on the prototype and looked at it was that the viewfinder is huge. You look in there and it's much larger than what we've seen on the 410 and the 510. How much bigger is this viewfinder? What's the magnification factor?
Yes, the magnification factor now E3 has 1.15 magnification. The size-wise, I think the same class of the APS size camera. I think the quite same size.
Okay, yeah. So even though we have a smaller sensor here, the viewfinder image is about the same size as competing APS-C cameras from the competitors. And we also on this one now have for the first time on an Olympus camera a tilt swivel LCD. And you can tilt it out, and so basically it can rotate back, it can be facing front, you can have it over your head and be pointing down, or be shooting at ground level and pointing back up. I think that's a very handy feature, and that's really, there wouldn't be a point in having a tilting LCD on a camera if it didn't have live view, so this is another benefit of the live view. Now this is also being a camera aimed at the professional market. It's built around a very rugged body, and also you've got some environmental seals in here. One thing I was really impressed with as we were setting up for this was the sample we have of a magnesium housing here. There's no way to convey this to the people watching this on video, but this thing is just, feather light really is not an exaggeration. This whole thing must weigh just an ounce or two at max, and it's very thin. And this uses, I guess, a very advanced forming process to do the injection molding. It's something beyond just normal injection molding.
Yeah, it's called the Tixo mold technology. from this technology, the very precise scaling and also the very tough construction is possible.
So you can make it very you can make a very precise body without requiring a lot of machining on it. So that makes it it's more cost effective to have this kind of a sturdy body. And then the thixoforming process gives you a very fine grain structure in the metal, so it makes it very, very strong. So it's a very rugged body, and there's also a number of seals on it. We have seals around the battery compartment. The door here has a seal all around it, rubber. There's a number of rubber gaskets all throughout the construction, so that all the buttons are sealed.
Sure.
Now you wouldn't be able to shoot underwater with it, but it means that if you're in a rainstorm, you don't have to worry.
Yes, that's right. Even the pop up the flash and flip up the LCD. It's possible.
Oh, really? Wow.
Shooting in the rain.
Now, one of the hallmarks of the recent Olympus cameras, starting with the 510, has been a body-based image stabilization system. And we've got a really unique view of it here. We actually have a cutaway of an E3. And this little unit off in the corner here, that's the gyro sensors that actually measure the vibration.
Yes, that's right.
And we have it conveniently not attached to the body. It's floating out here. So when I touch this, you can actually see the sensor mechanism, which is over here, the sensor mechanism actually moving to compensate for what it thinks are vibrations of the camera body. Now, this new system has been improved some over what was in the 510?
Yes. 510 performance is the fourth step for the handshake performance. And we increase with the E3 up to the 5-step maximum.
Wow, so that's a maximum of 5 EV steps or
Yes.
5 stops.
Yes.
And that's something, too, that also speaks back to the issue of speed with this camera is the new lenses you've announced. This is a 14 to 35 f2 lens. That's equivalent on a 35 millimeter frame of a 28 to 70 millimeter. So what's different about these new lenses?
Yes, this is totally fixed F number, F2 stop.
So regardless of where you zoom, it's f2.
Sure. Then very bright. I think this is one of the best lens for portrait.
It covers the portrait focal length good. And you've updated the drive system in the lenses?
Sure, that's right. And it's also installed the ultrasonic wave drive, means kind of the supersonic wave drive. And very quick and fast, and also very silent.
So it's fast and silent. So that goes along with the shooting speed. That these lenses will be able to autofocus very quickly to keep up with a rapidly moving subject.
Sure.
And it's interesting now we're getting multiple processors in laptops, and the same thing seems to be happening in cameras too. That we're getting more and more computers inside the cameras. So now we don't just have a single computer; we have many. In a fast camera like the E3, we actually have a number of engines in parallel. This diagram here is showing us everything that's going on inside. So I guess basically what this is showing us is that we have multiple things happening in parallel.
Yeah, that's right. This is the reason the difficulty of the development. Yeah, and thanks of the 3 engine parallelly works, the speed, the processing speed achieve this level.
So we essentially have separate computers inside the camera handling the image stabilization, handling the autofocus operation. We've got the TruePic 3 is handling the image processing, and then there's a separate engine over here, looks like, that handles the media interface just to talk to the memory card. So it's really like we have 4 or 5 different computers inside the E3 all working together. Well, there you have it, the Olympus E3. Sounds like quite a pile of photographic goodness. A 10 megapixel, very fast professional SLR with a super autofocus system from Olympus. And Mr. Terada, when could we expect to see this camera?
I think in US, mid of November.
Middle of November. And what will it be selling for?
Body itself, $1,699, and new lens, $1,260, $999.
Okay. $1,699 for the body and 12 to 60 millimeter SWD. That's the new lens for $999. Well, that's great. We look forward to seeing it, getting it in the lab, and tearing it apart. Thank you very much, Mr. Terada.
Thanks very much.